Hey, this is Dan from learningcameras.com, and right now we're approaching the holiday season, and so there's a lot of huge deals on cameras that you can get right now, especially some DSLRs. And also it's a time where many people are looking to buy, either for someone else or for themselves, some nice cameras. So for that reason, we put up a shopping guide up on the website at learningcameras.com. You can check it out. We basically give you information on all of the latest DSLRs that are out, our take with it, some links for you to purchase those as some of the best deals, and basically some general information on there, how one camera might compare to another camera, what are the things that set this DSLR apart from some of the other ones. So you can check that out. We'll give you our full information. But basically, I just wanted to run down just a couple of the different segments that we have for cameras and a couple of the cameras that really stick out for each segment. So starting in the kind of lower end of the DSLR range, we've got something like the Canon SL1, Canon T5i, and the Nikon D3200, I think, is right now the top camera out for Nikon. So between all of those cameras, the T5i is really an older model T4i, barely any improvements, if any. It's just some minor button changes, and that's about it. Some new settings, and that's some new creative modes, I should say. So really not the top camera on the market. If you're going to be looking for something a little bit smaller and lighter and more portable, check out the Canon SL1. We've got a review on that. Great camera to get around with. Now, Nikon also does have the 3200. This one's a little bit older now. It's getting ready to be updated. So it's not my top choice for this segment just because of that, but it's a good camera, good solid camera for the price. Now, moving up into the next level, we have the brand new Nikon D5300 that's out, and this is a great camera, offers some unbelievable quality for the money. I just got mine in now, so stay tuned for the full review. We'll post that when we have that. And it's really up against the T5i in this segment. And the T5i, once again, is just using an older Canon sensor. It just doesn't bring anything new to the table that the Nikon D5300 does. So Nikon is definitely the camera I would recommend in this range. Now, once again, this is if you don't have any lenses or anything like that, but you can check out our take and also some of the full reviews at learningcameras.com. Now, moving up into the next segment, we have cameras like the Nikon D7100 and the Canon 70D in this segment. Also, you do have Sony in there as well with cameras like the A77, but it's really a lot older at this point, and Sony has just about gotten into the market on a full scale, but they're just a little bit behind what Canon and Nikon is doing right now in this segment. So I probably wouldn't be my top choice on that. But the Canon 70D is such a good camera for videos. It's really tough to beat. It really offers an unbelievable autofocus system and some good solid modes for that too. Actually, we're recording this video on the Canon 70D. It also has some great photography modes. It's a really good camera if you're just looking for something small, good to port around with you. Wi-Fi on it is going to be nice for some people as well. If you're doing some landscapes too, that can be helpful because you can control the camera from your phone or your tablet or something like that, which makes it really nice. Now, the Nikon D7100 is really a beast of a camera. It's a much better built. It really feels a little bit more like a pro body. Both of them have good AF systems. You're going to have some more points on the Nikon, but on the Canon, they're all cross type. So it's kind of a wash on that one, on which one I prefer. And the Nikon is also going to have something we see in more upper level pro cameras like dual SD card slots and things like that. So for photography, it's an unbelievable camera. If you're looking to get kind of into the pro market, it's a great lead up into that, especially for photography mostly. And the reason I say that is because for video, it could have been such a good camera, but you cannot change the aperture in this camera while in live view or while recording video, which is a huge issue for me while recording. So it's something I'm not able to make amends with when recording video, and it dumped me back into Canon for the 70D for most of my video recording. Now, getting up from that, we get into our pro market, and really nothing I say here is going to change your mind on that. We've got great cameras from the Nikon with the D600. We've got the Canon 60. So let me talk about these a little bit more. The Nikon D600 is a little bit more like a baby pro camera. It's going to give you a lot of the features that you would find in a higher end camera. The D610 actually, not the D600, because they've just replaced it to fix kind of a faulty shutter mechanism, I would say, that that I had experienced in my D600. So the Nikon D610 is really a great camera, solid for photography as well. Once again, we still have that limitation with the aperture not being able to be controlled while in video mode at all. We don't see that on the Nikon D800. So the D610, D600, D7100 and below, all those cameras from Nikon do not have that control on that, and that's pretty big for me. So that's going to be one of the big limitations for that. I really do feel like it's a solid camera though for photos. You can't go wrong. Unbelievable dynamic range, 24 megapixels, great low light results as well. So now with the Canon 60, we do have a good solid all-around camera. My faults with it are this: I don't find that there's one thing that the Canon 6D just does better than anything else. If you tell me, oh, I want a camera for video, I might send you to a different camera. If you tell me I want a camera for landscape, I'll send you to a different camera. If you tell me I want a camera for portraits, I'll send you to a different camera. Here's where the 60 shines, is really just being an all-around camera. It doesn't do any one of them at a superb level, but it just kind of fits each one enough. Now, for a very expensive camera, right up close to the $2,000 range, I do think that's a little bit weak. I think that Canon needed to excel in an area with this. The AF is just not up to grasp with some of the higher end cameras out there. It doesn't have 2 SD card slots. It doesn't have quite as nice of a build as what we would see from the higher end cameras. There's just a lot of weaknesses on it. On video, you don't have some of the other things like a headphone out. It doesn't have an articulating screen, so it's not as good for video as something like the 70D. It does have good low light. It does have a high megapixel sensor, great full frame. But once again, we're able to see something like that from Nikon. So it's hard for me to recommend the 60 to you, even though it's a great camera, for something in particular, and that's the only weakness in it. But all around, great cameras in there. Now, once we go up from that, you're going to get into your pro segments. You're going to have lenses that you use and systems that you use and stick with those. Great cameras all around. I do find the 5D3 to be my preference for an all-around shooter, for shooting landscapes, for shooting anything with greater dynamic range, especially in better light. I love the Nikon D800 for something like that, but as an all-around camera, the high megapixels kind of hurts you a little bit in low light, file sizes, things like that. So it's not my best for the all-around shooter, but it's got some huge strengths that it just does amazingly well. So that's kind of a basic run through of some of the DSLRs. We're going to run through these with some of the other camera systems out there, like mirrorless. This is a big camera segment that's making a push this holiday season. So we've got a couple cameras coming in as well to kind of help us do that. But take a look at the site, learningcameras.com. And once again, we have the whole shopping guide out there where you can take a look at many of these cameras and some of their strengths and weaknesses to kind of lead you in the right direction on what camera might be best for you.